Welcome to another episode of Unlocking the Mind Behind Make More Work Less. Hi, my name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock the potential and guide them to succeed. Today on Unlocking the Mind, we're going to be talking about another cognitive bias. And the reason why we do this show is so that we can better understand how our minds work, how we can better understand how we make decisions, be more prepared when we go into negotiations, or maybe even be more prepared or avoid certain situations that we may or may not know that we're in. So that's why we're looking at two different types of cognitive biases so that we can understand our brains better. Now, for today's topic, let me ask you a question first. Has anybody ever told you to go watch a movie because it was the best movie they ever watched? For instance, Endgame was absolutely awesome. You have to watch it. Or that last Star Wars movie, you have to go because you're not going to be disappointed. It's the best thing you're ever going to watch in the whole world. And then what happens is you take that information, you go to the movies, you watch that movie, you go, it was good. It's not exactly the best thing I've ever watched. So have you ever had that scenario happen? Most likely. I'm pretty sure everybody here has had that situation happen. It may not even just be movies. It might be, you have to talk to this person because this person is absolutely amazing. Or, oh, avoid this person because this person is no good at anything they do. You take that information, you meet that person, you go, well, they weren't great, but I wouldn't say they're the worst person I ever met. So if you've ever had that experience before, that is the introduction to our topic for today. And the cognitive bias that we're talking about today is exaggerated expectations. And this is where the extreme version, it's a very extreme version of confirmation bias, where we're taking information, interpreting information that confirms a preconception or a pre-thought. And us as human beings, we love to be able to come up with something and then find supporting evidence into it. Even if that something hasn't even happened yet, we get that anchored feeling, that thought process, and then we find reasons and supporting information to make sure it happens. Well, because this is an extreme version of confirmation bias, exaggerated expectations basically explodes explodes that information, explodes that thought process because we over exaggerate the good or over exaggerate the bad, and then we keep on adding more information to it, thinking that that's what's going to happen, but in reality, it's not even close. So if we look at the main definition of it, it's the reality when compared to the real world evidence turns out to be less severe or less extreme than the expectations. And the anxiety that actually that causes that tendency of exaggeration for the information that turns into expectations. So our anxiety, our abilities to kind of prevent our brains and to stop us from getting into danger, we start exaggerating stuff so that we either protect ourselves better or we prepare ourselves better to be overjoyed. So if we were very, very excited about something, we might over exaggerate that event coming up. And we're so excited, we're prepping ourselves to be prepared to be excited. But once we get there, it's actually not as exciting or not as amazing as we once thought. And most likely than not, this is something that we do when it comes to preventing ourselves from getting hurt. So for instance, let's say if you were to go skydiving, you might think, oh no, it might be very dangerous. You're thinking about all these things that could happen. You over exaggerate the negative of it so that you're preventing yourself to put yourself into any harm. One of my friends, a very, very close friend, wanted to go skydiving. He signed up for skydiving and he was all the way up there and he was about to go, but he didn't do that first jump. And the reason being is prior to going onto this trip, he actually researched all the bad things that can happen. And he confirmed by watching videos of crashes and watching videos of people getting injured that it completely psyched him out. It completely exaggerated expectations of what might happen if he went skydiving. And in the end, he didn't do it. And then finally, after more and more iterations, more and more mindset training and talking to other individuals, finally, he went and did skydiving, and it turned out to be one of the best experiences he's ever had. So once again, he over-exaggerated negative, preventing him from going, which would be a con. But then once you understand this bias, once you understand what it does to your brain, you're able to separate yourself a little bit, ask for the right information, and then go actually experience it, and you realize it's not as bad as it is. A very, very common scenario where this actually happens is asking people to go up on stage and speak. They would over-exaggerate that experience. They'll over-exaggerate, oh, it's going to be so scary. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do with my hands, what if people don't like it? And they come up with all these things, and they kept on confirming and justifying that feeling of scared, that feeling of fear, that feeling of not doing well, that they over-exaggerate the expectations. But once they go up on stage, once they go speak, and once they experience it for the real, in the real life situation, it's actually not that bad. So the thing is, with exaggerated expectations, we have to really separate ourselves a little bit and kind of learn from the past experiences of what exaggerated expectations does to us, whether it's stopping us from pursuing forward or making us overexcited about something that may or may not even happen. We have to be able to maneuver around that. Another scenario that happened to me personally was working with tenants and going through an eviction process. I was overly hyped about all the negative aspects of what the court process is going to be like. What if I don't know what to say? What if I don't have the supporting documents? What if the tenant starts putting me down and saying all these bad things about me? All these things caused me to over-exaggerate that expectation. I lost sleep, I couldn't concentrate. The only thing I could think about was this whole event that's gonna happen 2-3 days from now, and I had to go to court and do all this kind of stuff. Well, after those 2 days were over, I went to court, and it turned out, well, the person didn't show up. I just stood there, talked to the judge very quickly, and it was not at all what I expected it to be. So more likely than not, a lot of scenarios that you think about do not come out to be the same as what you expect it to be. So therefore, in preparing for that type of scenario, if you find yourself a little bit excited or you find yourself a little bit fearful of what's going to come, the truth is it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. And unfortunately, it probably won't be as amazing as you thought it is. So the thing is, you just have to prepare and manage your expectations. And that is all about exaggerated expectations. So if you like this video, there's a lot of other unlocking the mind behind Make More Work Less. And you could also follow some of my other videos, which is the Peak Potential Success Show and also the Mastermind Bites. Please like, share, comment, and give me feedback. I always love seeing the comments. I always like sharing all this information. So until next time, today is the day to unlock your potential. We'll see you later.